You're listening to Lessons in the Field. Our guest today is someone who's walked the tightrope of executive protection across 15 countries, protecting everyone from high net worth individuals to Fortune 5 executives and international diplomatic delegations. With over 9 years of boots on the ground experience, she's managed everything from covert security operations and red carpet events to high threat detail in global conflict zones. She's provided residential protection for high-end clients, including time spent working side by side with VCPG's founder, Alan Perry, where their professional partnership has evolved into a lasting friendship over time. From corporate campuses in the tech world to private aviation operations on the global stage, she brings a rare blend of precision, discretion, and adaptability. She doesn't just protect, she leads. Welcome to the show, Malinda Gilbert.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good conversation.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Really looking forward to this.
So can you tell us a little bit about where you grew up and what your early interests were?
Yeah, I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, so right underneath Canada, right near Idaho in the Washington state, and I'm the youngest of four. So there was a really big age gap between me and my siblings. I have my oldest brother who's 16 years older, another brother who's 14 years older, and then a sister who's 12 years older.
Wow.
So I grew up being the baby of the family, but also I basically had 5 parents because they were so much older than me. But I just tell them they all needed that many years a head start because as soon as I came along, I came out just, bossing the family around. And,
Yeah.
and the excitement came to the family. So
Yeah.
it made it fun. But yeah, no, I was a ballerina for a long time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I did it for 9 years. And I was homeschooled. So I had the opportunity to teach during the day when a lot of, kids were in school.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, ballet was a big part of my life growing up. And
Wow.
then my parents always had something. They were always traveling. They were always doing. My dad is like a serial salesman. He loves a good gimmick, loves something to sell people, from squeegees to car wax to carpet, whatever it is. So we would go to these trade shows growing up, and especially having older siblings, they were all teenagers when I was growing up. So the house was very busy. I loved a good full house, and it was always excitement happening. So,
I guess, what made you, from ballerina, what made you want to come into the security industry?
I was very quickly influenced by my brother Caleb, who got into the industry when he was 19. And there's quite a few interviews out there on how he got started in the industry, and he got into it for very different reasons than I did. It was kind of a joke growing up that women in our hometown have babies and they make pies. Like, that's just the expectation on you. And I was okay with that. But I would have stories of Caleb coming home for Christmas, or, he did Hollywood in the early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
And so he would come home with just the craziest stories. And I remember he'd send mom and dad, like, hey, check out this TMZ video. Like, here I am with Tom Cruise. And, I'm 14 years younger than him. And so I'm very impressionable, just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And he has a lot of, like, MacGyver-type stories where, I'm ratting him out on some of the stories, but
It's okay.
he can't say them, but I can share them, creatively. But he does stories of just a client that needed to go do a photo op, maybe with a presidential candidate and some promotional something, and they needed to have black shoes for the event, and the client had Converse on. And so he looked at Caleb and was like, what do I do? Like, I didn't read the memo that I had to have black shoes. And Caleb was like, I got a Sharpie and I got black duct tape. Mm-hmm. And so he's telling me these stories afterwards, and I'm just like, this is the coolest job ever. Like, not necessarily I'm protection was the focus for me, but it was like, you were having such crazy, wild life experiences.
Yeah, right.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
He traveled all over the world with a lot of different clients, and he was very intentional about, very good big brother, to send me a postcard from every country, or he would just share these stories of, hey, I was in Indonesia during, whatever big life event. And it was this faraway land and life that he lived. And then he'd just come home to our little hometown and,
Have all these
we'd
stories.
have all these
to tell. Yeah.
stories. And so I was very quickly, I idolized him a lot. Growing up, someone around me was always having an emergency. And I have to laugh now because a big part of what I do now, I was prepped at a very young age to do. So it's fun to see how literally no experience is wasted, because growing up, ever since I was 5 years old, people around me, whether it was my parents, whether it was other family members, were having emergencies. So it wasn't my emergency, but it was enough to fully feel the effect of that tragedy or of that, just the heaviness. And so I very quickly became independent. I very quickly became kind of self-sufficient in, okay, mom and dad are busy for years on end. And so Caleb became just my role model for a lot of things. And then my sister, they both kind of raised me up into my teenage years. And
so those emergencies kind of like shaped you into who you've
very
become.
much so of I'm not in control.
Right.
But I have to just put up with the outcome of these emergencies happening. I mean, I was 6, and then it happened when I was 12. And then, certain people were just unstable or not there in my life. And so I just became, okay, my childhood was great. Like, my mom and dad loved me. I have a fantastic family. But there was a lot of moments in my childhood that I was just alone.
Right.
And books were fantastic. I read these, Huckleberry Finn and the Swiss Family Robinson and all these adventures of like people around the world. And that was my escape. But then learning how to comfort people in like, I don't know what to do. I can't, I'm a kid. I can't help you in this situation, but I can be funny. I can, show you this cool thing that I colored and hopefully it makes you feel better type of thing.
Yeah.
And so that kind of then translated later in life to when I came actually down here when I was 14, and I remember I came here to see Caleb and his wife, and we had a great time just the first time in California. So seeing all the very big differences of here than Washington life, and I remember that got to a point where I think it was 13, 14, and I remember sitting down and telling him, like, I don't think I want a boring life. Like, I don't quite know, like, if I want to do school, if I want to do college, but I do know that at some point I want to do what you do. And he was like, okay, that's great. And it was zero hesitation. And I remember being surprised at that because, I'm this little innocent, sweet girl. And so going into a world with all military, going with a world with bad guys, little did I know what I was in for, but Caleb was immediately supportive. He was great. So let's get started. All right. So you're 14 now. All right. So get really good at writing your English reports. Like, get really good. And he would send me, hopefully this isn't betraying any NDA for him, but he would send me the old school paper advances that he had to do, especially for one client. And I remember it was this thick, and he sent it in the mail, and all the very sensitive details were whited out. But he was like, hey, so this is your motivation. Like, if you want to work to this, like, if you want to get to this job, then in your school right now, like, focus on your English, focus on your spelling. Like, Caleb was notorious for being a bad speller. So we both did not value education. Caleb graduated when he stopped doing school when he was 14, and I stopped when I was 16. School was very much just a waste of time for me. It was boring. It was so optional because thankfully, because things like ballet, I stopped doing ballet when I was 14, and mainly because I had an opportunity to start traveling with some youth organizations. And so I thought, why am I wasting my time doing ballet if I'm not going to be professional? Then I need to start working, and I need to start getting a job so then I can go to, Europe for the summer. And and quickly get that. And so school was like, I'll go to school later. Like, I'll just get it done with. And I didn't want to go to college. My parents weren't going to pay for it. So there wasn't any point for me to sit here and putting so much value, unfortunately, just not putting a lot of value into education, which probably would have helped me. But there was this love of like, I want real life experience. I want to go see the world.
Yeah.
I want to go have these crazy adventures just like Caleb had. And I want a non-boring life. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
So at 14, and that's kind of a weird thing for a little girl to say, to be like, oh, I want to go into executive protection, like, and knowing what it is, in the very real sense too of Caleb, had a celebrity, the music artist that he had been protecting, and the stage got rushed, and Caleb was in the hospital for a few days. And so it was also very clear that it is a very, very dangerous job. I didn't have any, I mean, I have brothers, but I didn't tussle with them. I didn't, they're so much older than me.
Right.
So it's not like I had that sibling rivalry of like, oh, let's just, wrestle. Let's just, the boys picked on me, but they're brothers.
Yeah.
So they're going to have their fun. But it's funny looking back now of like, wow, at such a young age, that was such a clear goal. And then what kind of flipped the switch of we're going to pursue this career was where every good story starts. So I get my cord stuck. I met a boy, and this boy I really liked, and I was going to marry him, and I was going to be just this perfect little housewife, and I think I was 19, and I was going to have those babies, make those pies.
Yeah.
And we went on a date, and everyone in our little friend group knew that I liked this guy. And so we went on a date, and thankfully, another friend of mine had asked him, and he was like, hey, I heard you went on a date with Melinda. And this boy was exciting. Like, he had a huge lifted truck, which is a big thing up north. Like, that was cool. He was adventurous, he was loud, he was just a fun guy. And so it was exciting to be with him. And just the whole everything in that season when you're 19, like, this is exciting. I kind of missed out on a lot of childhood memories and experiences because my parents were sick for a very long amount of time. And so I stayed home a lot of my teenage and really until I was 21 to take care of them.
Right.
And so there was a little bit of making up for lost time. I didn't have a rebellious period. I wasn't acting out. I wasn't ever curious with drugs or alcohol, or I was always boy crazy. But it was just because like they had cool toys. They did fun stuff. Like they shot guns and they raced cars, and it was exciting. And so here I have this guy that's like, he is excitement. And a friend of mine had asked him, hey, I heard you went on a date with Melinda. He goes, yeah. And he goes, oh, is there going to be a second one? Like, how'd it go? Did you guys have fun? And he goes, honestly, dude, no. She's pretty boring. And I don't need that. And thankfully that friend told me, which I'm very glad. Yeah. Because at that moment, of course, I made the statement, I will never have a man ever say that about me ever again. Yeah. And the truth of it, like you said, I was boring. Like that is the real truth of it. The funny part now is he lives the most boring life of anyone I know. He married the world's most boring woman. And my mom runs into him at the bank all the time, and she goes, oh, I'm so glad you never got with that guy. Oh, and then now he has a receding hairline, so it's even better. Oh, yeah. So thank you to him. Thank you to him for that inspiration and that inspiration, like I said, to just... I'm never, ever going to have someone ever say that about me again. Yeah.
That kind of like gave you the motivation.
Literally.
Like, I'm better than this.
I'm better than this. And it was a wake up call of like, I was like a 19-year-old girl does. I was about to marry this man. Yeah. Obviously I wasn't. But realizing, hey, I'm 19 and I have the whole world in front of me. I have a whole life. Like I can always have pies and babies. Yeah. But I mean, to a certain age, but I should get all the life experience I can now because when else am I going to have this season? And I remember what also came from him is the friend group at that time is I got really into street racing with cars. And I really found a love for it. And this is when I'm starting to get frustrated being home. I'm starting to I'm not being rebellious, but of just curious, realizing, hey, I'm 19, 20 years old. What have I done with my life? And what am I doing with my life?
Right.
So cars became that outlet for me. And my brothers always raced and they were always tuning up. And, they had our hometown is pretty famous for a lot of street racing. And so
What town is it?
it's Spokane, Washington.
Okay.
It's right near Coeur d'Alene, and it's about a few hours south of Canada. But I had gotten a really great dream car. And for me, racing, it wasn't about going fast. It was about how can I not feel fear in a car? So how can I master, it snows up there. So how can I get my car, completely get it out of control, feel comfortable with this feeling of not letting fear overtake me? And how can I then turn this situation and know when I have control of the car? And it's watching way too much Fast and Furious and Herbie growing up, that definitely influenced it. But then I also realized, when you start racing against guys and then you roll the window down and then you realize it's a chick instead of a guy, then it's like, oh, that's a good feeling. So that definitely played a part of it. But at that point I had told Caleb, hey, I think I'm ready to bite the bullet. I think I really want to go into EP and I'd like to move to California.
So that was the specific
That was
moment
the specific moment.
Yeah.
Very powerful moment of being embarrassed
Right.
with the truth, like you said. Literally the truth. I did nothing. I had no life experience. And so Caleb said, okay, this is great. So what you really should do is, he goes, you need to go to EMT school. So nobody can verify how you deal with emergency situations. You don't know how you deal with emergency situations. So regardless if you're a bank teller, if you're a soccer coach, whatever else you do in life, EMT will always hold value in your life. So it's a great investment. Start with EMT school. Get that done. Go to executive protection school. And that's a 28-day course. It's not like a degree or something. So it's 28 days. Went to ESI in Colorado, and then moved to California, moved to the Bay, where every single tech billionaire is based out of.
Yeah.
And at that time, there was only, that I knew of, 4 other females in the Bay. And so Caleb said, you're going to be hired immediately just because you're a female. Because they need females so desperately. You're probably going to get hired on with a family. And then the best part about that, because I initially told him, I want to go to driving school. That's what I want to do. And he was like, okay, we could, save up for driving school and you could do a 2-day course for $5,000. Or you can do this route, go to EMT school, go to ESI, move to the Bay, and then they'll pay for you to go to all the best schools. So I thought, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So I like that trade-off. And I really went into it really open-minded with, of course, it scared me shitless, but it was, I wanted to be able to say, I tried it and I wasn't good at it, or I tried it and I didn't even like it, versus 10 years down the road being like,
I should have done that.
I wish I would have. Yeah.
Exactly.
And so I went in really open-minded, but also really giving myself permission to not be good at it.
Yeah. Kind of like a no pressure kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and you have a big brother who's also a legend in the industry. He's done incredible things.
Yeah.
And there wasn't also anyone that I knew of that was a role model for females. I didn't really know what it would look like. And thankfully, that actually wasn't a big deal for me. And what happened at ESI was I went and I immediately was surprised because I thrived in that environment. And, the learning the school and learning the different types of EP, it was very valuable because I was very fortunate to be one of the last classes that learned EP the old school way.
Oh, okay.
Of the big, long paper advances, or writing strip maps of locations, never using your phone. So EP without using technology, completely different,
So it was a little more like analog.
Very much so. And
Right.
and what I didn't realize what the value in that would be is later down the road when you're working with men that have done it for old school way,
Yeah.
you have some context and they're impressed when you're not so dependent on the phone.
Right.
Like you have some depth to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I was grateful that thankfully that time I got given, I didn't realize it at the time, so much value of going to ESI during that time. And then I moved here to the Bay and I got hired on immediately with a family detail and kind of we went off to the races after that. So it started. That's initially how I got into it. So
That's
all
kinda like
because
how
of
you
a
broke
boy
in and-
embarrassing
yeah.
me, then deciding, okay, I need to do something with my life. And I loved that I didn't have to go to a 4-year college. I loved that I didn't have to have a degree. Like they were all tangible accomplishments. The EMT brought a value. It brought so much more confidence in understanding how you work with teams, how you're communicating. And then emergency situations, the best truth of advice I got very first day from the EMT instructor was the moment you step on scene, it's someone else's emergency. It's not your emergency. And that has carried from being a little girl literally to today
Yeah.
of remembering it's your emergency. It's not my emergency. We're okay. So that was a great way to kind of step into this field, and
Yeah.
it's history.
So let's talk a little bit about your brother, Caleb Gilbert. He's the president of White Glove Protection Group. He's on the IPSB board. So is there any like sibling? Is there like a sibling duo? How is that perceived in the industry?
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that to this day, I've been doing EP for 10 years now, that have no idea that we're siblings. In the beginning, we would have a lot of fun with it because Caleb was very well known. And we would go to like these EP conferences and you'd have guys that would be like, Caleb, I want you to meet this brand new girl. Like, dude, she's great. Like, she's moldable. She's a really adaptive. She's going to be a good learner. And I would be like, Mr. Gilbert, so great to meet you. And, Linda, I've heard a lot about you. And then, the realization of name tag. Oh, no, you both look a lot alike.
Yeah.
Like, once you see the two of us together, we look quite a bit alike.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of fun. There's one other brother duo and a sister duo. But Caleb and I, especially getting into the industry, it was very important for me not to be under his shadow or to think that, or have people think that he opened all the doors for me. So, and I actually very quickly got very defensive of, no, I'm my own person. I'm not Caleb. Thankfully, especially at ESI, I really started the trend. I didn't start it. Someone else coined it, of becoming the little sister of the industry. And I'm very grateful for that because very, very much, anytime you're introduced at a mixer, at a conference, oh, it's Caleb's little sister. Oh, it's Caleb's little sister. And very quickly having fun with that, but then making sure my work was known for my work ethic, taking all the miserable jobs. And thankfully, 10 years later, it's happened that way. I'm known for very different things. I have very different passions. We actually have similar passions for the industry, but we go about it two very different ways. And there was also the hard side of a lot of men trying to use me to get to Caleb. So
Right.
Caleb had all the jobs. He had all the cool, sexy details.
Yeah.
And so if you can make friends with the little sister, then of course she's in
Yeah.
it. So there was a lot of, hey, I'll buy you a drink for you. Hey, can I? Oh, I'd love to talk to you. Oh, tell me more about
you like caught on to that
very
after a while.
quickly,
Yeah.
and I got very protective of that, and very distrusting of people, which was a good thing. But I do remember a friend being like, hey, you don't have to be so like,
Right.
the guy's just trying to be nice to you.
Yeah. Well, you don't know who's being authentic.
You don't know.
And
You don't know. And also being a female and being so young. I mean, I was 21 when I got into this. I didn't drink for the first few years of this career. because you're figuring out who's trustworthy and who's not. And I am just so proud that Caleb has never opened doors for me. There's never a part of my career that I can, oh yeah, Caleb got me that job. The only thing that Caleb did in the very beginning was give me the phone number of the recruiter for my very first job, because I had no idea how to find a recruiter.
Yeah.
He's been definitely my sounding board, and there's been a lot of challenging situations I've been in this career where his wisdom has been very, very helpful to have as a mentor. But he's not been my only mentor.
Yeah.
So,
have you had any other mentors, or?
I've had other people that I have been able to, they've not been long term. I've had certain team leads and managers that have influenced a huge part of my career. I've had even people at ESI. One of the main instructors there, he had just a lot of really great life advice that he ended up giving. And it maybe wasn't EP specific, but of just how to play the game of EP. It's such a vicious game.
Right.
And so that's what I really learned at ESI is how the networking, the people, the backstabbing, the distrust,
Yeah.
the ugly side of it.
Right.
But it's now fun. I started my first detail with Caleb, and now I work with Caleb again after 10 years. And so kind of bookends of my career. And
kind of like a full circle
yeah,
moment.
it's a really big full circle moment.
Yeah.
So it's fun now, being on that first detail and then now working with, no value that I'm bringing to Caleb. Such a liability. But then now being with Caleb, where I bring value to him. He's able to ask me. I have experience that he doesn't have, which is crazy as a little sister to have a big brother that you've always idolized and you've always looked up to for your whole life. And now he's asking you, what do you think about this? Or, hey, do you know any information? How would you handle this? Because just based off of, unique life experience. I will say I only know of one other married couple, both husband and wife do EP. But I do have to say there is a part that you have to have a boundary of protecting your relationship to, if I'm having a conversation with Caleb, knowing, is Big Brother Caleb talking right now, or is my boss, years before?
Yeah.
Is managerial, team lead Caleb talking? Because if you're going to chew me out for doing something wrong as a manager, yell at me all day. I definitely did something wrong. But if you're my big brother yelling at me, saying that you're, mad at me, then I will cry for weeks. Like I will be flattened. So it's a fun duo. I really have fun with it, and I think the industry has fun with it too. It's very heartwarming. And again, there is so many other big brothers I have in this industry.
Yeah.
I've been so fortunate to have men that have put me under their wing, protected me, given me good advice, given me the heads, hey, don't trust that guy. Hey, don't talk to that guy.
Yeah.
Don't do that detail. Don't do that.
So I guess, were there any other challenges when you first got into this field, or?
Like I said, the kind of predatorial men that would reach out to me, befriend me, to get to Caleb. That was definitely one. There is also the reality that you are a young, pretty, single female in a very male-dominated industry. And so you get a lot of attention. And that just makes you very defensive. Like I said, I didn't drink. I didn't put myself in a lot of situations for that very reason of I have to focus on my career. I have to get a name for myself. I can't be associated as, Caleb's little sister has every door open to her. But on the other hand, because there was only I was one of, 4 females in the Bay, there was so many job offers. I mean, within my first week of getting out of EP school, I had 3 major job offers. One was for $500,000.
Wow.
Literally protecting this 12-year-old in New York City. You would basically be the big sister nanny guard for her. And I just remember being like, that's a lot. That's what world did I just step in? And so if anything, it was too much. I got offered really, really big jobs. And thankfully, Caleb, this was his biggest piece of advice starting out, is do not be in a rush. Like, don't take the cool, sexy details. Like if you're not ready for it. So making sure I said yes to all the jobs that were at my level. So doing the residential stuff, doing the RST, saying yes to every single job was so valuable. I would learn, I'd be assigned to a main client, but then this company called AS Solution, the contracting company I was working for at the time, which was where I met Alan. There were so many other pop-up details to where maybe a family, like a Japanese family that lived 5 blocks over, they needed just night protection. And so you'd pick up a random shift, but that's a completely different estate, completely different way of doing your notes, completely different interaction with the client. And then there might be another detail of an Indian family, and they had kids and they had nannies and they had house staff. And so actually the challenge is that there was so much work. There was such a need. And so you just constantly got bombarded of everybody wants you, just based on the fact that you're a woman. That's literally like, they don't care about your skills at that point. We just need a woman to be on this detail. And there's so much value in that too, of learning just context of how different houses run, different management styles, different protective postures. Some clients always wanted you to be at the gate. Some clients never wanted to see you. Some clients wanted you to be seen so that when they had these house parties, it was a statement of their wealth to see their security lined up for these house parties. So it was great. There was a lot of value in that season.
So I guess we're going into the stories right now. So, so I guess that's what I was going to
Buckle up.
That's what I was going to ask next. So are there any stories from the field that you can share from those early years?
I was on residential security for 2 years, and then I had a transition where I was able to be on a hybrid team where you did residential, you stayed at the house, but then you drove the client, mom and dad, quite a bit. And it worked out because I was a female that mostly the wife, wanted a female around her 16-year-old daughter who did water polo.
Okay.
Much more peace of mind for a female to be with a little 16-year-old in her cute little water polo outfit versus the guys on the team. And so I have a lot of really great stories, a lot of life lessons were learned. If we talk about failures, and later on, a lot of my stories came from that one of just a lot of trial and error. And then I was moved from that detail, and I had an opportunity to be on a really high threat covert protection team up in San Francisco. And I was in the worst neighborhood and wild. All my crazy stories come from that one. And then COVID happened, and I made the transition into corporate, and I've been doing that for the last 5 years. So that's kind of like the timeline. But the covert team had the most crazy stories because, if you take EP, regular EP, it's very black and white, where you pick the client up from point A and you drop them off at point B.
Right.
That's your day. You have movements, you have schedules, and it's pretty cut and dry what's expected of you. To where covert protection, if it's actual, true covert protection, your client does not know you. They don't know your face. They don't know what you look like. They just know they have little Jason Bourne fairies somewhere around. And the moment that something happens, you're going to be there. But covert protection is like you're on LSD. Anything goes. Like you can wear the craziest things to shift. You're doing the craziest thing for the sake of your job. And specifically this detail that I worked up in the city for was a girlfriend of a very wealthy man, and she lived her life, and that was her only rule is I don't want to see security. I don't ever want to feel that my life is in danger. I don't want my friends to know that I have security. I don't want to ever have that looming, like they're watching me. I don't want them in my mind. Like I want to live my life. Unfortunately, though, this woman had a very colorful life, and so she went to very interesting neighborhoods. She went into the worst places in San Francisco and Oakland and Richmond and public transportation. And so if she's doing that, then we're doing that. And a lot of my, what the cool part about this job was my director at the previous team I was on, had switched and he was the director of security now on this covert team. At my last detail, it ended pretty rough. I had a harassment issue with one of my team leads.
Oh.
And they were very unprofessional in front of the client, in front of the house staff. And I get this random call, hey, you should interview for this covert team. And I had actually 2 interviews. I was going to go one direction to go be with a nanny detail, or I had this opportunity to do this covert team. And I remember thinking, well, been there, done that. This sounds really interesting. And I remember driving into the city with that director that I worked with for the last year and a half. And it was just him and me. We're driving up, and he goes, Melinda, I want you to know you're not qualified to be on this team. You have no skill set that is really, really going to be good. Yeah. He goes, you're not qualified to be on this. But he goes, I saw what happened at the last detail. I saw your character, and I saw how you treated the client. And he goes, because of how you handled that situation and your character, he goes, I knew when I started this team, I wanted someone with that level of character. So what I need you to do, very seriously, you are going to be on this team, and we have the highest level of military op guys. We have, PJs and Navy SEALs and CAG guys and these SAS agents and all the special forces special man. And he goes, I need you to be a really good learner. I need you to listen to everything they say. I need you to soak up every bit of wisdom. And he saw that potential in me, and I was so grateful. You know what? Really redeemed the previous situation of the last team kind of ending so bad. And what I didn't realize is my life was about to change. And on that covert team, I had just the beauty of being mentored by the world's coolest guys, of learning international ops, the guys that had done CIA stuff, that had done so much field craft. They'd done so much international ops, and so good at teaching me body behavior. How does the human brain recognize certain people? It's really fascinating on how do you pick a person out of a crowd of 1,000 people? How do you find your client? There's tricks to that. Yeah. There's ways of manipulating even your own body language that you'll never be rememberable while you're walking down the street. Even though I just passed you 5 times, our brain is fascinating. And so I got mentored just from these incredible men on human behavior, and it really forced me to be creative. And a really good example was the client was walking to work one day, and I was by myself. So she popped in, and you don't have a schedule. You don't know where she's going. You don't know what she's doing. So you're kind of just at the wheel. You're just following her. And I think at one of the stoplights, I'd heard her on the phone saying like, hey, I'm going to pop into the studio, and then I'm going to leave, and I'm going to Uber over to Oakland, wherever. And so I text my partner. I said, hey, she's going to get in the Uber, so go get the car. So he goes and gets the car. I'm by myself. And this neighborhood that her workplace was at, it was on a street. It was on this side alley street. And it was pretty notorious for cops not coming down it. It was pretty rough. It was a really, really rough part of San Francisco. And you got very quickly adapted to street life, and you made friends with the gang members and with the drug dealers and with anyone who owned that street corner. Meanwhile, we're not cops, so we don't have resources. It's just us. We're kind of sitting ducks. There'd be long periods of time where you'd be in a car just outside of her, the workplace. But everyone knows and sees you. You're the suspicious. Who are these people? Are they cops? Are they not cops?
So it's better to form relationships.
Totally. And kind of, but then also having a cover, like 3 years of having a cover story of why are you here every day? Why are you sitting in a car every day? From this time to this time, but you're not a cop, but you're you're not a drug. You're like, what are you? What are you? You know?
Yeah.
And you would build that relationship with like, hey, you can shoot up in our car and we'll hide you from the cops. But little do they know we're the ones that call the cops. That way the cops will do a little patrol just to ensure that we weren't cops. So you learn these like human secrets of kind of manipulating your environment.
Yeah.
And my best example is that day she, you know, pops inside and it was just a bad day in the city that day. Just everyone was out. There was lookouts everywhere. Everyone's out. And there's just a tense feeling on the street. And I remember thinking, I don't know how the two of us little white girls are going to, you know, how do I safely get her off this street and get these guys to go away? Because everyone is watching us. We just stand out like a sore thumb. And at that moment, I thought, what's the one thing that normal people in the city would never think of is bird sounds. And so I start making, because a normal person goes, oh, there's some beautiful birds around here. But meanwhile, every single person on the street knows that's the call for the cops are coming. And so I start just making silent little bird sounds. And everyone goes into their little corner and client comes out and we walk around the corner and she gets in her Uber and then, you know, my partner comes up with the car and we, you know, continue on, go to the next destination. Wow. So little stuff like that, we're like, oh, that's genius. Like I'm not here like fighting every guy on the street. I'm not outdoing him. I'm not out toughing him. But how do you, like I said, manipulate your environment to work for you?
Having street smarts.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. And a lot of these stories, you know, there was a point where we just joked, like we just turned into little hood rats. My funniest story is same situation. Client was walking over. I was by myself on a street corner and I was kind of grumpy that day. I don't remember what the content, I mean, it might have been like, you know, my 8th or 9th work day in a row. So I'm just annoyed. And I knew she was going to pop out and my partner went to go get the vehicle and I was on the street corner and this huge big black guy on a bicycle comes over to me and, you know, he's eyeing me and he's a big guy. And I notice in his belt, he's got a really big knife and he's got a screwdriver. And what I had learned from the streets is that a knife necessarily isn't a weapon. It's definitely an intimidation. Like, don't mess with me. I got a knife. It's very clearly, I'm packing. Yeah. If you have a gun, very different meaning. But a screwdriver was really prevalent at that time for stabbings. And so here I am with this giant man looming. I have nowhere to go. He's got a screwdriver and he comes over on his bike and he goes, "You waiting for an Uber?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm waiting for an Uber." He goes, "Look no further. Your ride's right here." And again, I was annoyed. And this is the other part about human behavior on bad guys just love intimidation. And if you're not, they love an easy target. Like if I learned anything about crooks, bad guys, whatever you want to call it, they're the opposite of the U.S. Postal Service. Like through sleet and snow and hail, like the post will go on, especially San Francisco. They are fair weather workers to where if it's raining, it's the safest day in the city. If it is sunny, everyone's out and everything's kind of like just the roaches are coming. And so I'm grateful for how I responded in this moment because I was just annoyed. I didn't have time to be scared, but he's like, "Well, look no further, your ride's here." And I was like, "You know, you can go. I don't have time for this." And he looks me over and he goes, "Are you selling dope?" And I immediately, without any hesitation, I go, "Well, this is the street you buy it on, so naturally that would make sense, wouldn't it?" And his posture starts changing, and he goes, I think you got, you know, coke or Molly. And I was like, "What, not heroin?" And he again, his whole posture is now changing, and he goes, "No, you don't really seem like the heroin type of dealer." And I took my coffee, and I threw it on the ground. I was like, "Dude, I'm offended. If I wanted to sell heroin, I could sell heroin." And he's like, I gotta go. And, you know, I'm just like, the nerve of him. And then at that moment, my partner was pulling up in the car. And I'm just mad walking back to the car. And I slammed the door. And he goes, "What just happened?" And I was like...
So what did he think? Did he think you
It
were...
was just not an easy target. Like,
Yeah.
he's trying to intimidate me. He's trying to tower over me, and I'm just not budging. Like, I just did not have the time that day to be intimidated. It's like, just, I got, compliance reports I need to do. Or I have, I've got bigger things to worry about than this giant man looming over me. And it was too difficult of a target. So it was like, okay, I'm going to waste my time. No, I'm not going to waste my time with you.
Yeah.
So I get back into the car and I slam the door, and my partner's like, "Did you not see the knife?" And I was like, "I saw the knife." And he's like, "Did you not see the screwdriver?" And I was like, "I saw the screwdriver." And he goes, "What just happened?" And I was like, "He said I couldn't sell heroin. And if I wanted to sell heroin, I could sell heroin." And he was like, you have been on the streets way too long," which is so funny to share. But then the really ugly part of this job was, the reality is you became, especially as girls, essentially a paid victim. And that's not talked about very often in the security industry because you're supposed to be the protector. And so with this job specifically, there's such good examples that I don't think many people actually face in this career. I'm not really proud of this, but I do have the most. They're called AOPs, so attack on principle, where I have the most in the Bay Area of my clients being attacked. And that's not to say anything about my security posture, but it's to say that I have been in real life situations where the client is about to die, or the client isn't immediately the client is being threatened with immediate danger. And whether it's a knife, whether it's a man following her for a certain amount of time, whether it's a house robbery that you're responding to and you're talking to your client and you're keeping them calm while they're locked in a closet thinking they have 5 more minutes left to live. And that's the real life scenarios that you're put in that I don't think a lot of people in the industry have. They have, we got a threatening, person hopped the fence, or, we had a paparazzi stalker issue. But there is the reality to, especially this team, where it's good examples of how do we handle that emotional side of the job. Like I said, especially for us girls with a female client, there may be men that are catcalling her. She's beautiful. She's getting all the attention, to where you're the protector. And so you flip the situation, and now the men are focused on me, or focused on the other girls on the team, to where you're in this constant feeling of danger because they're out danger. They mean it. They are going to kill you. And this is where I kind of credit like charm and humor, like literally saving my life more than combatives or any, fancy jujitsu has ever taught me, because there's moments where, same street, a lot of stories from this one street that we were on. You would be in a car for a long period of time, just waiting for her to, pop out of her workplace. But we didn't have a restroom, or you just had a car. So you might be there for a whole day. She may be, 9 to 5. So you have to go out and go find a market or a coffee shop to go use a restroom or get food. And everyone's watching you the same as you're watching everyone else. And there was this one moment, many people from this street that stand out of just, you're watching the worst part of humanity. You're watching people my very same age in their young 20s that are injecting heroin in places that heroin's not supposed to go.
Yeah.
You're watching someone's body decay in front of you. You're watching a person die literally right in front of your car and with an overdose, and then seeing how their body is literally robbed within 2 minutes of everything that they owned. And then the ambulance comes, scoops them up, and the next person comes along. There's a part of just that street, low life lifestyle that is heavy. You're watching people around you be victims every day. You're watching, I have this one story of where I think I had to go use the restroom or something, and there was this guy on the street, was just a rough person, and pure evil. And I remember I had to walk past him to go use the restroom and go to this market around the corner. And I remember him looking at me as I walked past, and he looked at me and he goes, "When you come back here, I'm going to rape you." Mm-hmm. And
Is this the first time you've ever seen him? Or
no, I'd seen him before.
You've seen him before?
I'd seen him do very violent things to people on that street.
Just from being there.
Just whether he's coming off a high, whether he's tripping, like starting his trip up.
Yeah.
When the heroin's starting to wear off, that's when they're really agitated.
Right.
When they initially inject, then it's happy, it's peaceful. They're tweaking out on the threads of their water bottle, the threads of their clothes. But when they're coming off, they're unhappy because I don't feel good anymore. Now it's wearing off, and that's when they get agitated. Yeah. So this man, he's watching me the same as I'm watching him, and so he tells me, "I'm going to rape you." And I remember that moment, and this is pretty dark, so I'm sorry for this, but he looked at me and I just smiled real big and I said, "Not if I rape you first." And again, there's moments where you don't intimidate. Don't show that weakness because they are going to jump on it.
What was his reaction to that?
He definitely was caught off guard. Yeah. And what's funny is when I came back, he wasn't there. and I don't know what I was going to do because I still had to walk back to my car. And there would be moments where you'd be in a car and countless times people would try to get to me inside the car. I mean, metal pipes just beating the car up. And I don't know why the glass didn't break. Guardian angels definitely were very busy during that time of you're constantly living in that state of fear. And the last story I have from this one is there was this man who was getting ready for the night. And he was putting on his makeup and he was putting on his outfit, and I had my phone out and I was recording him because I was just pure comedic just content right here. And it was kind of out of a scene from like White Chicks to where he looked up and he saw me. He saw I was recording him. And I had the window cracked in the car about this much, and he comes over and he pulls out a knife on me on the car, like he's gonna stab the car.
Yeah.
And he goes, his deep level, "Bitch, you got a problem?" And I remember leaning over again, smiling real big, and be like, "Nope, I was just admiring your beautiful scarf." And he goes, "Girl, I got it at Macy's for $5." But then, in all seriousness, he looked at me and he goes, "I see you here all the time."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Every time you're parked here, you don't have to worry. Like, I'll make sure you're okay."
Mm-hmm.
And that was huge. And there were so many moments from the street that other low-life individuals saved my life when I was about to get stabbed, when I was about to be attacked.
You've kind of experienced the extreme of both
sides. So, but yet I'm the protector. And so what psychologically was happening during that season, and it was 3 years, I'm not telling anyone that I'm scared shitless after every single shift. And I've got these horrific images that are in my mind, situations that have happened, that it's not like, you get done with work on Saturday night and then Sunday morning you're out to brunch with your girlfriends and you're like, "Oh, so how was your work week?" And you're like, "Well, I can't tell you."
Yeah. So you've had to kind of like compartmentalize.
You compartmentalize, but then also being a female, being very young as well, put an interesting dynamic because I rationalized it as, you've just never been in combat. All these other guys, they're used to this. They're used to, seeing death. They're used to seeing horrific images and humanity not doing good things.
Yeah.
And so you're just green. So every time I wasn't necessarily a victim in a certain situation or constantly felt in danger, I just kept telling myself, you just need to toughen up. Like, you're the protector.
Yeah.
Like, this is literally what you're paid to do. Like, the client didn't die today. You nearly did. That's what you're paid to do, Like, the same as if you work in an ambulance, you get a reward for saving someone's life. That is literally your job. You know? So there became that, honestly, there was a lot of PTSD. There was a lot of imposter syndrome of this must just be scarier than I remember it being. Or I remember when I stopped doing that job, I had a lot of withdrawals. I had a lot of nightmares. I had a lot of what now I know are just triggers for PTSD of feeling, I'd go home every night and go to bed and be like, okay, thank you, dear Jesus, I didn't die today. Let's try not to die tomorrow. And I remember when I was not doing that job anymore, friends were being like, oh, how's your life now? And I was like, I just miss so much of that life. And they were like, you were literally living in fear for your life. Why would you miss that? And it's funny how memories like that really work in your favor sometimes, because sometimes when you need confidence going to the next situation, you know what's really handy? Going into that really scary moment, replaying that, remembering the tingles, remember your heart rate, remember all those feelings, all the sounds, all the, heart patting. And now I'm the bad guy. Now I'm the aggressor, and I'm not the little victim that feels scared anymore. And when you go, into this, next situation, then you have that confidence. But what really blew my mind was about a year later after doing that detail. I never told anyone. This is terrifying. I'm scared every single shift. But I'm the protector. I'm supposed to be the one to not feel scared. I'm supposed to be the tough one. So I just must not be tough. And I remember going out to a bar with two of the guys from that team, and I ended up breaking down, and I cried to them. It was the first time I'd ever done that, and I said, I don't know if you guys know, but I was so scared during that entire season. And what was really encouraging was one of the guys, he started saying stories. Yeah, but do you remember that one time this happened and you stopped the guy with the knife?
Right.
No, but do you remember that other time where we all saw what happened and we were so proud? That's our girl. We were so proud of you for how bold you were in that one moment. Or just even the rape joke. Dude, we were so proud of you. And then another guy who had done a lot of years combat overseas, he said, I don't think you ever knew that I and many of the other guys on the team were on the highest level of anti-anxiety medication. Right. Because I was more scared on that street than I ever was in Afghanistan in the combat zone. And so then it edified, and it put value to those experiences to then take what I thought was kind of a failure of oh, you're just being a chicken.
And then you're realizing that you're not alone.
I'm realizing I'm not alone. Yeah. I'm realizing there was actually so much strength in those stories and so much confidence going into, future stories. And it really is big hearing someone else. And I've been so fortunate just having such great guy coworkers that have been very protective of me, but are such a big advocate for reminding you of your strengths. And that was a big moment. And then realizing that I essentially, had the equivalent of a 3-year combat tour.
Right.
To which you can't say that. Of course, everyone's going to twist that and be like, you're comparing EP to, actual war zones. And I'm not, but I'm saying there's a lot of very similar body reactions, psychological reactions. You still have to wear off the little PTSD triggers,
right?
Which thankfully I don't have anymore. I'm very happy to not have that. But then it also has given me so much depth for other men that do have PTSD. And it's given respect to, I understand. I wasn't there when you had to kill that child, or I wasn't there when you had to do that, moral conflict raid. But I know how it feels. And I'm very familiar with fear, very familiar with the relationship of working through it, and not being able to tell family members, not being able to have anyone that relates to you. And so that's why I think that the EP industry is really big for these law enforcement and military guys, because you crave that brotherhood. You crave people that have those same similar experiences. And that's the beauty, I think, of this industry. So that's my long, very long drawn out story from the street. But it provides really good context of, I don't know how many other teams have had situations like that. Yeah. And no one talks about that when, like I said, of the protector being scared. And it's a real thing. It's not a macho. It's not an ego thing. It's the reality of courage is doing things even while you're scared. And so being courageous protectors means you can still be a little scared.
So-
You're human.
So you're in a male-dominated industry. So, as a woman, have you faced any other stereotypes or challenges based on that?
I have been so fortunate to not, especially starting out my first 7 years in the industry, I've really not faced it. There's been little comments here and there.
Right.
Excuse me. Where unfortunately it showed up. My second day in EP. This is my one example. I was doing residential security for this household, and the house manager had come out, and everyone, all the house staff was all females. It was very pro-feminist, very like, screw men, women can do anything. And so the moment they found out there was a girl on the team, they were just, oh my gosh, this is great. Oh yeah, girls,
Over the
go
moon.
girls.
Yeah.
And my very first day solo, like I'm not training, I'm now a big RST agent. And granted, I had just moved here from Washington State, so I'm this little kind of country bumpkin that is now in the big city. And the house manager comes out, and her car had died, her battery. And so she comes over and she's like, hey, my battery's dead. And here I am thinking, yes, this is my one moment. I know how to do this. I know how to jump a car. So I said, oh, no problem. I got the cables in the back. And she immediately stopped and she went, no, I don't want you touching my car. Go call one of the guys. And I was like, no, I fully know what to do. Like, this isn't, no, I have a car. I just did it last week on my own car. And she goes, do not touch my car. I only want a man to touch this car.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, okay. Okay, got it. and unfortunately, most of my issues with being a female in EP has come from other women. I've had conflict with other female agents. I'm a big advocate for it. And I make sure if there is a woman that I'm working with on the team to have that initial conversation of, hey, we're both two professionals. And if you win, then I win. We're on the same side.
Yeah.
So there's none of this catty, girl competition.
Right.
To where any issues I have had with females, it's been an intimidation issue. And then it just gets petty. And I hate that.
Yeah.
There is, unfortunately, the contracting world for me, never faced it. When I switched to corporate security, that's where I really started to see the stereotype of you're judged very quickly. My first day in corporate, I came into the office and all of the office staff girls immediately came over and, they're grilling me on, so were you a Navy SEAL? So what would you,
Yeah.
they're expecting you to be this G.I. Jane, super sex, symbol of, oh, you're a female bodyguard. Oh, that's so cool. And then
you must be like top of the top.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And then they see me in the double chin and they're women, we're human. And,
Yeah.
just even talking, or there's not, especially on that job, there wasn't much time to share stories, and it's corporate, so I can't share these stories of people telling that they want to rape me to these office girls. So I'm trying to tastefully give some street cred without, being crude.
Yeah.
And, I'm used to all boys. I'm used to all super manly men. And so now I'm in a corporate office environment, and literally the one girl was like, well, just let us know what type of anti-anxiety meds you're on, because then we can all sync up and we can all share it. Welcome to the jungle. And I just remember and it was just this weird environment of, you were either one of the girls or you're the butch, awkward girl. It's a weird, you're feminine, but you're in a masculine role.
Yeah.
And sometimes us women, I say us, but really them, especially if they've never worked with a female EP agent before, they don't know how to act around you. They expect you to be this, Miss Congeniality or Angelina Jolie, and you're not, because that's not the job. And the other beauty, though, of that was my first experience in corporate, but then I had another experience where my very first week, one of the best team leads I had, he sat me down, and he was from New York, so he had a fun accent, and just Mr. Personality. And he sat me down, and I don't think he realized how much this meant to hear, especially now, 7 years into my career. But he sat me down and he goes, "Listen, girlie, we hired you to be a woman. We hired you to look like a woman. We hired you to act like a woman. And so don't try to be a man on this team. We have men on this team. That box is checked.
Yeah.
So I need you to be the most comfortable in your skin. I need you to be thriving in the areas because you're the only one, you're our girl.
Yeah.
So run with it and have fun with it." And, of course, he has his little and if I was you in this industry, I wouldn't be wearing as many turtlenecks as you do, So he adds a little bit of fun to it. But I don't think that he realized how big that meant to hear.
Yeah.
Because, and like a man, when you are coming into this industry, you are a unique individual that brings a unique set of skills, personality traits, life experience, and that is what is your leverage to be on a team. That's what makes that relationship with that client. And so using that female stereotype of especially working with clients that have maybe never had a female on the team, owning it, working it to your advantage, and knowing your identity and being really confident in that.
Yeah.
Of, hey, I'm a runner. Hey, I'm whatever your hobby is, and owning it. Or I love traveling. I love cooking. I love, whatever it is. So that's the initial tiptoe into the female side of.
So I guess, are there any specific unique strengths or perspectives that that women bring to this industry?
I think we are so much more detail oriented than men, and it shows when you're doing surveillance a lot. Unless you're trained. Us women are just, we have that sixth sense. You have the woman's intuition that does really pay off on a lot of teams. And again, a lot of these teams I've worked on, that's been seen as such a value. And it's been, hey, you look at life through a magnifying glass, so you can pinpoint, this issue. Or unfortunately, we get tasked with a lot of the admin tasks because, these barrel-chested freedom fighters don't want to sit here on a computer writing SOPs. They don't want to write the, briefing for this, upcoming trip. That does turn into more of a girl's role, unfortunately. But
so that's one of the difference between like the men and the women. And,
and not all the time. There are some really great analytical men that are great. I mean, I work with one right now that he can just whip them out, and he's so eloquent and precise in his communication. But I think for us women, there's also that peace of mind that especially female clients have when you have a female on the team. And one of those prime examples is one night I was on RST, so residential security, and I was going to drive the client up to a city. She had a gala she was going to, and we were late. I had the car staged. I'm waiting for her to get in the car. Now we're 15 minutes late. Now we're 20 minutes late. Now we're 30 minutes. And I'm like looking at traffic like, now I have to get us on time through traffic to your gala and make you not late. And it was all dark outside. And finally she comes outside and she cracks the back door, and the dome light turns on. And she goes, "Oh, Melinda, it's you." Because, she couldn't see who was in the car. And I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And she was like, "I have been upstairs and my zipper on my dress has been broke, and I have been fiddling and trying to get it closed for the last 15 minutes. And she's like, everyone's gone, all the house staff, my husband, everyone's out for the evening. And she goes, I knew that, the guys on the team were, they're all husbands and dads. She goes, but would you mind zipping up my ball gown? And of course I rush out and, zip her up, and off we go to the party. But it was a very quick introduction to sometimes you are that peace of mind for that female client.
Right.
Just, thank goodness, another
Yeah.
woman understands this.
Yeah.
Or that peace of mind with your 16-year-old daughter going to water polo.
Mm-hmm.
She's just a big sister. She's just, she sees things from a woman's perspective. And so there's definitely moments that it's utilized really well and handy to have a female. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess what advice would you give other women looking to kind of break into protection, security?
Yeah, I thankfully have had the privilege of mentoring a lot of women that have been starting into it. It's very easy to get lost in the tactical side of things, being tactical. Again, there's not that many examples. Now there is. I think that's definitely changed from when I first started to, 2025. There's more examples of females. There's more opportunities, but ask these women, reach out to them on LinkedIn. What do I wear? What do you are judged so differently on your appearance than the men are. And there's a part of EP for women that honestly it's a little more expensive for us because we have to have so many extra, your hair, your makeup, your when you go out to dinner with a client, you can't just be in the same outfit that the boys were wearing at the beach earlier. Like, yeah, you just put on, your Tommy Bahama shirt and your nice khakis and you're set for dinner. Where a woman, every other woman in the restaurant is wearing designer clothes except you. But I can't afford the designer clothes, and that's not really appropriate for me to be wearing designer clothes. And so you have to be tasteful. You have to be really creative on making sure that you're presenting yourself in a professional way. And so reaching out to these other women that Rachel Bavaskin is someone who, when I first got into the industry, she had just written an article on women in protection. And I can't speak before that because I wasn't in the industry, but I think it was one of the first times that people had a snapshot of, oh, this is the value that women bring. Oh, this is the opportunities. This is what it can even look like. Because again, I didn't have anyone. I didn't know, what do I wear? Like, what do I wear to a vacation to Hawaii with the client? Is it appropriate for me to be in a swimsuit? Is it not appropriate? Like, if we're going to a gala, what do I wear? Like, am I supposed to be in a dress because being the only woman not in a dress, it's going to stand out? Or, there's situations like that to where...
You can't just pack your Hawaiian shirt.
Exactly. Fortunately, and you're going to very nice locations.
Yeah.
Where you are judged and treated differently based on how you look. And so really asking that advice. I think where women, it kind of gets cheapened with the industry is if you don't have a reputation for being known for your work ethic or being known for the value that you bring to these teams. Like men, I'm not saying this is just women, but you very quickly resort to what you think does work. And so what sells with women? Sex. So it very quickly comes cheap. And it's I can't get a job. I really want to be on this travel detail. I'm not really qualified for it yet, but you can show up to a mixer in a little lace bralette and a blazer and show your cool little gun buddy Instagram with your matching, Lululemon set and your cool AR, and of course they're gonna hire you. Like, duh, they're men. And unfortunately, it works.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the stereotype that really annoys me, is that women work so hard, like myself, to be known for your work ethic. You're known for, hey, I can trust this girl in an emergency situation. Especially on that Covert team, it is life and death decisions. If I'm having a good day, if you're fighting with your wife and you're not in the right headspace, that can cost us both our life. Like, I need you to be in the right headspace.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be fiddle fucking around with, like, getting on a new medication or, whatever emotionally, even having your hormones off because I can't be she's crazy today. It must be, whatever that is.
Yeah.
You have to be dependable. You have to be, I mean, it sounds dramatic, but there are certain days it was life and death. And so for women to easily take this job and make it as frivolous as, I'm just on the nanny detail, which you are. There's nothing wrong with that. But where women just get desperate is they think they have to kind of cheapen themselves to get these roles. And it works. That's what's really frustrating. And I would love to see the standard for women kind of raise. I would love to see more examples of, the Butler shooting in Pennsylvania is the perfect example because the Trump assassination attempt where you see the initial picture of, that famous one of Trump and you've got the blonde Secret Service agent. And I remember the moment that picture came out, I literally immediately shared it on Instagram to be like, this is such a win for women because not only is her collar so perfect, she had no wispies, her makeup looked great, she's got the cool action shot and everything. And it was just like, oh, yes, what a badass. This is so cool.
Yeah.
But what does everyone talk about from that situation? All the memes, all the resentment, all the stories goes to the other female agent that was a soup sandwich. She looked a mess. She didn't know how to holster her gun. She clearly just did not have the training. She was having a bad day, And that's what everyone remembers.
Yeah.
And so then everyone thinks that's the standard. And that's an example that everyone uses of why you shouldn't have women on teams and why they're not capable of being on these high-speed teams. And so that's my advice to women is keep the standard high and be really proud of that because class doesn't go out of style. And that legacy, people notice. And it's what keeps you not awake at night.
Yeah.
You sleep really good knowing I did that job. And I mean, even just certain examples that your coworkers are really your best advocates sometimes, to where they're singing your praises. Hey, remember that one trip? When you did that? No, nope. You know your stuff. Don't be insecure. You know your stuff. So, that's kind of what I have to say to the women.
So how has a career in executive protection impacted your personal and physical life?
Greatly. I just was looking at yesterday. Actually, it popped up on my phone of just memories, just from 6 years ago, let alone from the beginning to the industry, starting into it, and it definitely takes its toll on you. It's a very unique strain on relationships. I have the deepest respect for married couples that do this, and especially family, like fathers, because I'm just single, me, myself, and I'm exhausted. So I don't know how at the end of a day, then you sit and you hear how your spouse's day has been, hear about your kids, and then still make intentional memories with them. So I've not graduated to that season of life yet, but I can say it's funny how you think the perception of this job, it sells really well as just being sexy. So you think everyone's going to want to be your friend. Everyone's going to, especially for being a female, you put it on a dating app, and once guys actually find what you do for a living, then you get one of two reactions. You either get the over-sexualized of like, oh, wow, well, you can protect me any day you want, or, oh, I'm sure you love to fight. Or they think that we're whole scrappers. Like everyone thinks that. And this may be geographically where I'm located. Unfortunately, in the dating world, I've had quite a few men ask if I would stop talking about my job because it makes them uncomfortable. Wow. So it's been very actually discouraging. And this is kind of where men and women differ in the industry, because if a man says what he does, of course, every single woman wants a good protector. So that sells real well. The guys get the girls. That's easy. Everyone wants to be with, James Bond. to where it takes a very special type of man to be able to be with a woman that is in a masculine role. And it is also very challenging to remember that you're basically, for your job, you have to be masculine. You have to you're in a man's world. You have to talk like a man. You have to understand how men communicate so differently than women and manage differently. And so then to go to your personal life where you're supposed to be this cute little dainty, like, female, it takes a switch. And I want to be kind of careful in how I say this, but the women in the industry that I do know that are married, they're married to very interesting men that are either very passive or they have their career and they're kind of the supportive spouse to the female having the main career. To which also the kind of what happens for especially females is you have either the younger girls like me, like under 40, that this is their first career. This is what you do. This is my livelihood. This is everything that is a paycheck comes from this job. Then you have a whole separate group of females in the industry that are women that have already had a career, whether it is in law enforcement or even fitness. And now they're in their 50s. There's a big amount of women in their 50s that come into this career to have a second career. Your kids are grown up and they don't want to be, retired life. So they've still got a lot of spunk and a lot of value that they can bring. And so it's really divided into these two groups of very young and probably very open to not being career women to then older women that are just in a different season of life. A lot of them are already married, or a lot of them are on their second, third husband. That's very different relationally than the women that are younger than 40 that are looking and trying to date and trying to figure out, again, where is those gender roles of, if you hear a bump in the middle of the night, I sure as hell better not be the one that's going down to check, what's at the front door. We can go together. That's okay. Yeah. I'll go with you. But you're the man. And I'm pretty traditional. So there's that for me where it's very difficult to find someone who is comfortable also with you being in a male-dominated industry. And every day, every trip, every part of my life, it's Tom, Dick, and Harry. It's all the boys that I work with, and the boys is cool story. And these are not your average, like, Joe Schmoes. They are the world's coolest men with really cool stories, and they're really badass. So you have to have someone, again, who's comfortable and confident enough. But then I've also found, because women in the industry tend to be a little bit more alpha, you are attracted to alpha guys as well. And if he is not in a healthy state of mind, it becomes either a competition of, like, military guys to where you out-cool each other. And it doesn't make it fun. Yeah, it's like, I just did this. I just did this really cool driving course. Well, I just did, whatever this, whatever course. You're like, cool.
Just sounds exhausting.
Literally. And it's like, that's not the point. I would never compare the military to EP. You have such different jobs, responsibilities, and your exposure to things. Then I'm on a private jet. Like, I'm staying at 5-star resorts, and you're in an ugly, smelly tent, and I'm not comparing this as, we're both uncomfortable. But then there's also the over-controlling alpha to where, again, you want to feel safe. As a woman, you still want to feel, even though you're the protector, I can be, G.I. Jane, I still want to feel safe with a man. So you get this overbearing, over-controlling, and I've not quite found the balance yet of a man that can be comfortable with this career, but then doesn't override it and you're not going to do that. No woman of mine is going to be, best friends with another guy on the team. Like, well, I'm stuck in a car with this person, I'm stuck in an office, or I've worked 10 days in a row with this person. Like, of course I know their coffee order better than I know yours. Like, I live with these people, essentially.
Right.
So the relationship aspect is one that I don't think we've quite figured out. again, for men, very easy to find women. But I think there's a tendency that women just stay single in this job, unhappily. So,
And have your friends been supportive of your career?
yeah, you know what is so helpful is, my family, especially for me. When I go home, we talk about EP. When I go on dates, we talk about EP. When I'm with my little nieces and nephews, we talk about, auntie stories. All my best friends are very, very long-term veterans of putting up with my stories and the highs and lows of this career. So I've been really grateful to have the best friends. And my best friend specifically, she is very protective of me. And she knows the industry to this point to where, nope, don't do that. Nope, don't take that extra shift, Melinda. No, you've dealt with this management issue before, or you've been on worse details, so you better buckle up, Buttercup. You know.
Yeah.
And so, I'm very grateful. It is definitely a strain. You're not there for birthdays and Christmases. You're not. Your friends and your family are never a priority. Even these guys with their wives, you're always going to hang up on your wife to answer a work call. The client always takes priority over that. You're not going to hang up with your client and be like, sorry, my wife's calling, They always come first. And that's difficult. I can see how that'd be very, very, very difficult for a wife to put up with that. But the EP wives that I do know, I have to say they are incredible humans. It is so much fun for me to get to meet those spouses. Something about a female explaining this job to other women, especially the wives, I don't know what it is about it. Gives them just a little bit more empathy for their husbands. They're like, oh, that's why he didn't text me all day. Oh, now I understand. Maybe the man can't communicate it. So no, we were literally doing crazy stuff all day. But then when I get to explain it, or I get to meet the other half of these guys and understand the context of their family environment, or see what rock star spouses these men find that are so resilient. My brother, his wife, is the prime example of how much she has sacrificed for this career, for the sake of Caleb having a successful career. It's a testament to who you marry really matters, and your success is definitely influenced by that. So the standard's high.
Yeah. So, what ways has this career changed you personally?
Every way
in terms of
possible.
like worldview.
Yeah. No, I think about what I would be like if I never did this. I probably wouldn't make as many crude jokes. I probably wouldn't be as comfortable with men, and you can't make me blush. You can't out cringe me. You can't. I've heard it and seen it all, unfortunately. And so there's a part of me that I know that I wouldn't have as much depth in life experience, but I'm so grateful for what I have. And when I initially got into this industry, there's this old quote that really was my kind of guiding truth when I stepped into what does it profit a man to gain the world yet forfeit his soul. And so remembering, you can be on the cool jets, you can be on these really cool trips, but don't lose your soul in this, and protecting what keeps Melinda. And I think I have, and it's been fun to still, it's still that, little 21-year-old girl, but I have a lot more cool stories now. And the goal really is to make sure by the time I'm in a nursing home, I have the best stories. And I really am just wanting to make sure all the old men in the nursing home just think I'm the funniest woman there. So
Yeah.
it's my new life goal.
So let's move on to successes, personal successes. So what achievement or moment are you most proud of?
I last year had a really record year of doing things I never thought a little non-educated girl could ever accomplish. Probably my proudest achievement was working with a royal family. I worked with quite a few actually of them, but I had an opportunity to work with a a royal team.
Wow.
And that was a very surreal moment, sitting and briefing this team of world-class protectors, and me being in charge of this event, telling these men what they're going to do and having a clear, I remember I had 5 minutes to brief them. Hey, this is what's happening. The king's going to go do this. You're going to do this. I'm going to be posted here. You're going to be posted here. I know this is your country, but this is our event. So here's what we're going to do. And I very respectfully said, I understand I'm not qualified to tell you. And you are the James Bonds. I am the, little American here. But this is kind of how this needs to go down.
Yeah.
And what was the defining moment in that was a risk, confident risk. At the end of that event, before I left, every single man from that detail came over and shook my head. And he said, pleasure working with you. And that was just like texting, my family back, you will never believe what I did today. And then I ended up getting a very cool, very special letter from that team.
Wow.
With the royal seal and everything on it. And
you get framed,
I have it framed and as a special moment of who'd have thunk, who'd have thunk that 10 years ago, this little girl would be in this position briefing, this royal team. And here we are.
Wow.
So that was definitely a top one for sure.
Yeah. So going the other way on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you had a huge failure that you turned into a learning experience, or?
I have many.
Yeah.
There's a life motto that I have forever had to never waste a good crisis. That started very early on in my childhood of, okay, that didn't work out. All right, well, let's find the value in it. Let's find the humor in it. I thrived in COVID. I mean, when natural disasters in COVID, that's my show, just my stage. I become twice as funny. I become relaxed. I become cool, because we're all in the same boat. So for failures, my very first time losing a client's trust was such a good lesson for me. I was less than a year into this industry. I was driving the client. I think we were taking one of the kids back from school. And we were in an intersection where we had to cross these railroad tracks. And the car in front of me, there was a light, it turned red. Well, the car in front of me stopped way farther back than they needed to. And so we were parked, stalled on the train tracks. And I'm so green. I'm not thinking. And the client in the back, she had a British accent. She's the most posh woman I've ever experienced. And she goes, Melinda, I don't know if you know, my greatest fear in life is dying by getting hit by a train on a train track.
Oh, no.
And she goes, and you just made that reality possible. And my heart sunk of, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be the protector, and here I just put you in a threatening situation. And it took a long time to build that trust back with that client.
Yeah.
And a good lesson for me of, you're there to be that safe person for the client. And this moment you lose that trust, it takes a long time to build it back again. That was a really good, clear example. And another one that's client specific. Another story that is kind of a good example where, same family actually, I went on vacation with this family. They were invited onto a mega yacht from another high net worth family. I just happened to be able to go on the yacht because me and one other guy were the only two who brought our passports. And it was an international yacht. We were in international waters. And so I was able to join on this. And I've never been on a mega yacht before. I didn't know they were a thing. And kind of like think below deck, only 5 times bigger.
Right.
And a staff of 30 people. And everyone's a model and everyone's beautiful. And the one rule that was on the ship was don't take any pictures. So, of course, what's the first thing you do? You take pictures. And we go and we go snorkeling. We had the guy that I was with, he was a Navy SEAL, and he took the family scuba diving, and there was a certain part, I think we went on to some island, did an excursion, and then we were coming back on the little boat to go to the ship. It was a beautiful sunset. And I am standing there, and next to me is the people who own the boat and my clients, and they're taking pictures of this beautiful sunset with the boat in the background. And then I had actually my security director, so the big security director on this trip. He's taking a picture. And then the Navy SEAL next to me, my senior agent, he's taking a picture as well. So surely if all of these people are taking a photo, it must be okay for little me to just snap a little shot. So I do. Don't think anything of it. We have a great time. We come back, and my team lead the next week goes, "Hey, I need to talk to you. The client said that you were taking photos on the yacht, and they are incredibly offended that you would betray their trust. You need to take that photo off your phone." And they're really pissed at you.
And you didn't post it on social media.
No,
Yeah.
very much. Definitely did not.
Yeah.
I'm just keeping it for my, like, this is what a mega yacht looks like.
Yeah.
So I'm mortified. And I just happen to then have a movement with the client's wife. So I get in the car, and she gets in, and I turned around, and I normally wouldn't do this, but I'm glad I did, because I turned around and I was like, "I'm so sorry for taking that photo. I just found out that was unacceptable, and I just want you to know I deleted it. I will be, way more careful, especially with your privacy going forward." And she looks at me and she goes, "Don't be silly, Melinda. We were all taking photos." She goes, "Don't post it on social media. Like, I don't care that you took the photo." So now I'm being told by the principal it's not a big issue. But here now my team lead is like, "Dude, you're in so much trouble." Like, and so now and this team lead wasn't even on the trip. So now if the client's okay with it, then there must be some sort of issue. Like, where's the disconnect here? If they're not upset, then who was upset? And the only people that were on this trip that would have known I took the photo also took a photo. So
Yeah.
explain this to me. A few years later, I've moved on to a different detail, and a friend who works on that team, and she had come over to my house for dinner, and she was like, "I heard your name today at work." And I was like, "That's interesting. I haven't worked, like, there's no one left there that would know me." So I was like, "How did it come up?" And she was like, "Well, this girl was telling these stories about you that just, I knew they weren't true, so I got really pissed for you, and I was just defending you." She goes, "Yeah, she said that you were taking tons of pictures of the client's yacht, and you were posting them, and, like, you would never do that. Like, you're a professional." And I clarified very quickly, "No, I did take those photos." Like, "No, that's actually the truth. I made that mistake, and I didn't post them, but I did take it." And it showed how in this industry we are really catty and really good at making sure everyone knows your failures. So what I've learned is, does the client, with your relationship with the client obviously matters. The beauty is that honestly, most clients that I've worked for have always asked me to come back years later. And she specifically had asked if I'd come back, 5 or 6 years ago. So I knew there wasn't a betray. Like, she did, there was value that I had. But when you make a failure, it benefits someone, whether it's a job promotion, whether it's making them look like they disciplinary actions, and they run a tight ship now.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, I should not have taken that photo. That is still my fault. That is still the truth. I made a bad judgment call, and I would not have that situation if I didn't take the photo.
Yeah.
Even though the director was taking it, even though the senior agent was doing it, there should have been that judgment. They said not to take photos. Like, just don't put yourself in that situation. So every time I have, been fired, every time I have had failure, it's really up to you to focus on the truth, because that speaks loudly, and owning it, and how redemption's a beautiful thing. Like, you are not a real EP agent unless you've gotten fired. Like, that's unfortunately, and even I was talking to girlfriends last night about it. In a lot of other jobs, it is a red flag for you to be fired. But in this job, you can be fired for such ridiculous reasons. You can have I literally know stories of guys that have just been fired just because they were wearing the wrong shoes that day and the client didn't like it. And so, get out of my car. I'm going to drive myself. I mean, you can be fired for just the weirdest things, the weirdest miscommunications, the weirdest ways to betray trust. I mean, because security is such an intimate part of these people's lives. So when that line is crossed, especially for them, then it doesn't matter if you were in the right or in the wrong, you got fired. Right. So I'm grateful that in this industry, there is a threshold for explain that situation, explain this failure, and just don't repeat the failure. Learn from your mistakes. Yeah. Own it, Own the past. Don't let the past own you. And I've found, 9 times out of 10, if you're honest and if you're really upfront about that failure, and what you now know for the consequences of that and the valuable lesson that came out of it, then you hold that value. It's not actually a failure. So yeah, you can kind of twist it into being never waste a good crisis.
So what do you love most about working in EP?
I love the people. Yeah. I think that from security school, the CoVert team, just even in corporate, I have had the best coworkers. I have the coolest stories that I get to hear day in, day out. My grandpa was a POW, so I grew up with so many war stories of incredible things that humans have done. And now I get to work with some of the world's coolest human beings that have also done equally just incredible stories, crazy experiences, being there for such historical moments in history. And I get to be in the same room with them. I get to be on the same team. That's where I'm humbled, is when you're with these high caliber humans that are so talented, and then little old me gets to be on the same team. That's a lot of fun. I just glean as much as I can, and I just think the personalities that choose this career, there's not a common trait in a lot of them. It's not like we're all born protector. Like, it's not like we all woke up of like, I need to be that protector. Like, in honesty, security is not my passion. It is not, like, I'm not that natural protector type of person. Maybe when I'm a mom someday, I'll be protective of my kids, but that's not a natural instinct for me. And so getting to learn from people with such diverse backgrounds, it's really fun. It really makes it fun to just hear stories all day.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess on the flip side, what are some downsides of this? I know you mentioned like physical, personal relationships. Is there anything else? Or?
It does weigh on your health. We're finding a lot of stories where in the military world, you have like operator syndrome, where you're in combat zones for so long that you're in fight or flight, that when you're not in a combat zone or your body is not in that high adrenaline state, you can't function. A lot of high stress, high speed teams have that same issue, and it might show up in different ways. It might show up as just a burnout. That's what most people just end up calling it. There's obviously more studies for men and physical and psychological outcomes of what that exhaustion does, because, combat, there's more men in combat. There's not as many studies for women, but what I'm finding is women, especially in this industry, have a really high rate of thyroid failure, or of Hashimoto's, or PCOS, to where your stress organs cannot keep up. It shows up very differently for women versus men. The one thing that I'm hearing a lot of people, and myself included, is memory issues. And I'd be fascinated to just hear a doctor or a psychologist talk about what happens with your brain when you are in such long periods of stress, because there'll be moments where it's almost like I'm having a slow stroke, where I can't fully put a sentence together. I'm 30. Like, I'm too young to have a stroke, There's times where I can't remember my sister's name, where I know where she lives. I can tell you her social security code. I can tell you her birthday. I can tell you every memory about her. It's more than a brain fart or I just lost what I was talking about. It's like I can't jostle any memory to what her name would be. Like I can't see it on paper. And when you're in a field that details are incredibly important, you have to memorize, flight manifests. You have to remember times. You have the schedule. The schedule is constantly changing. You have to remember, did I grab the med bag? Did I text the drivers? Does the house staff know what's happening? Did I send out that message? Did I clock in? You have all of these to-dos. And I'm still working on how to solve that. Some people have found that a low dose of a GLP-1 has been really helpful for them. Nicotine, some guys have had really good success with that. I think the other part of that's kind of the downside of this job. 90% of this job is not sexy, which sells really well on the internet. The cool James Bond, the Jason Bourne, the
Secret Service.
Secret Service, exactly. Yeah. But the 10% that is sexy, you can't talk about. So it makes it hard. There's a little bit of
kind of like that's one of the biggest misconceptions about.
Your first few years in this field is not going to be fun. You're going to be doing Holmes walls. You're going to be sitting in a car. You're going to be sitting in a Connex box on someone's property, literally just watching possums and raccoons and the mailman. That's going to be your life for 2 years. And if you are fortunate enough to then advance to do a travel team, then you're advanced to be on the jet. That's a whole new world. It takes a long time to get to that point. So I think that's the hard part is you do a lot of non-sexy stuff. You do a lot of admin work too.
Yeah. So for anyone listening and they're aspiring to get into this career, what advice would you give to them?
Do your research on EP schools. There's some really great ones out there. You can do a 28-day course one. You can do a 1-week course one. But that is where you're going to get your baseline knowledge on what the world that you're stepping into is. The value, especially for ESI, for me, was understanding how many different types of security there is. There's residential security. There's high threat security, like PTSD, like snipers on the roof. There's church security. There's 5 pillars of security where it's a very respectable position of teams that are working in a church or synagogue or mosque environment. That's a very interesting threat field of people are having, emotional responses. There's weird body behavior. It's a very unpredictable environment to where then there's corporate security. There's, regular executive protection. And then covert security. So it's what you're doing when you go to EP school is you're just understanding kind of what your options are. And celebrity protection too, even we haven't really talked much about that, but it's a very different world than the corporate world.
Right.
And so go to a good security school, but then ask their recruiter to then connect you with someone who can be almost like your career buddy. And this is a big passion of mine. And people are very much welcome to reach out on LinkedIn on advice or a big passion of mine is kind of a career advocate person to, hey, these are my passions. These are my God-given skills that I already have. If you're already an analytical person and you're very creative and you've always naturally been that way, what are you doing in physical security? Like you would thrive in Intel. You would, if you love all that nerdy stuff, what do you do? Unless you really like it. There's really good, and I think that's the hard part is people don't know about the security industry, but then they don't understand the whole world inside of it. There's many different branches and paths that you can have. Yeah. And they're not all the same. Right. So definitely find a person to help explain that to you. Go to the conferences, go to these mixers. They're uncomfortable. It's really hard. You have to, look like a dweeb in a little suit jacket. Yeah. And you're having these uncomfortable conversations saying, hey, I'm so-and-so. I know nothing. Or I want to go to the school. Or, hey, I'm just dipping my toes in the water of this career. Like, tell me, what does it look like for you? Oh, you do guard force security. Cool. Ask these questions. And there's value in just brain dumping this information and absorbing as much as you can. So that's my main advice.
So are there any other like skills or certain mindsets that believe are most helpful?
I think being really open, like never saying no to a job, even if it's a weird. And these will come. Everyone, you'll get a random text message to be like, "Hey, I need 2 guys for detail in LA. This is the pay. This is the dates. Like, this is the attire. Can you do it? Yes or no?" That's very often just passed around. Say yes. Like, you don't know who the client is. You might be with Beyonce. You might be with, a prime minister. You don't know, but that value is more than you think. There's the other value of, like I said, just being open. You're not, even if you have done all these incredible high-speed, cool guy, barrel-chested freedom fighter, secret squirrel stuff, be okay taking these like lower level positions and then have your work show your leadership skills. You will move so quickly if you are like, I always think like a paramedic is the world's best EMT. You're just really good at doing the basic stuff. So if you are this superstar, just freedom fighter, then do RST really well. And then you will very quickly get promoted to the EP team. You'll very quickly get promoted to the travel team. Your work will speak for itself.
Yeah.
And so it's a little humbling, but it really goes a long way.
So looking back at your own path, I guess, are there any things that you wish you'd known when you started?
Definitely use more PTO. I don't think I used it for the first 5 years. I think I could have saved myself a lot of trouble. And I know I just said don't say no to anything, but mixed with the PTO, making sure that you are having some sort of a rest. You are superhuman. You are expected to be a perfect human being in this role, in this job. You're expected to not have bad days because you can't have bad days. But if the one person on the team who's constantly trying to get less shifts keeps asking you, you don't have to say yes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You can have boundaries. You can say no. Your career is going to be okay.
Yeah.
When you're already on an established team, that's the clarification.
Yeah. So what do you hope to see in the future for the EP industry?
I, kind of along that same lines, I am really curious on how teams are going to bring more value to the EP agent's experience. Meaning, I think COVID really shook things up. COVID really forced, some teams didn't have to work for weeks, months, because the client said, hey, we're going to be stay at home. Like, we'll let you know if we leave. We don't need you. Other teams just kept on working. A lot of people got burnt out and realized, I don't love this job anymore. So there was a big shift of people getting out of the industry, mixed with all this, the EP schools shut down. So now you have no new blood. And so the whole cycle of you need these new agents and these new right people that need experience for some of these lower level jobs, that's not there. You don't have anyone to fill those roles. But then you've got these superstar, rock star, high-speed agents that, whether you're on a corporate team, whether you're just on a high-speed EP team, that burnout is a real thing. And I think that we need to be a lot better at rewarding that loyalty to employees. It's one fun thing that I am really enjoying with working with Caleb right now is that is a huge passion of his, is making sure that the employees, it's an equally good experience for them as it is to be your employer. And to, what can I do to set you up for success? So do you need more training? Then let's get you more training. If you're going to be more confident, more articulate, and be a better professional talking in front of the client, then that's worth that investment for me to send you to that training, to me to develop those skills versus, and training's hard because you don't make any money off of it. It's such a high cost. You even schedule wise, you got to take half the team off the roster, and now everyone else is exhausted while the other guys are going to get maybe their medical training or maybe they're doing the driving course. But I think we can be a lot better at the longevity, not getting as burnt out, not working these weeks on end. And you're going to have those. You're going to have the 18-hour days. That's just the job. Mm-hmm. But what can you do to set up your employees for success way better than we are doing? I'm excited to see how that is. I mean, if you treat them like the Olympic, rock stars that they are, there's definitely some shitbags in this industry that are just taking advantage. They don't work hard. There's some very interesting people that can get away with it. Yeah. But there's other people that their work ethic, their loyalty to the client, they're showing up, they're doing the small things how do you reward that better? And how do you make it more worthwhile for them to then be able to go home for their wife's birthday, make it for their kid's birthday, make it for their, wedding anniversary? Yeah. Because even, me switching to management now, I'm realizing it just takes a little bit of intention, and that goes a long way. Yeah. You have to be intentional. It's not hard. You just have to be intentional. So I think I'm excited to see how that can be contagious.
Mm-hmm. So what's next for you in your career?
Well, with that, these are all kind of just tying in. I am in a season, in all honesty, where I have checked off everything on my career bucket list. Mm-hmm. And I'm very grateful to say that. I have had certain boxes that from the very beginning, I knew that, the day I step out of EP, I would really love to work for a royal family. I would love to be an FTE with a corporate company. I would love to do international ops, and so on and so forth. I've accomplished that. Mm-hmm. And I'm in a season now where I'm realizing for 10 years, I have lived my client's life. I have not lived Melinda's life. Mm-hmm. So if my client's a runner, I'm a runner. If my client's, going to Greece, I'm going to Greece, and I'm all about Greece. Yeah. And maybe I should learn Greek, to where I don't go on. There's a little bit of the balance that I kind of need to rein back on but who is Melinda? Focusing on my personal life a little bit more of how can I make this sustainable to still be showing up and still be adding value and still be mentoring the people that I am and helping, build out programs and, still do stuff that I love. Mm-hmm. But then how do I shift it into, maybe I go on a trip to New York with a client. I love to travel. That's forever since I was a little girl. That's my favorite part of this job. Mixed with the people. I love the travel aspect of it. And so it takes just a tiny bit of intentionality for me to stay in New York for 3 more days. And then I go have fun in New York. Mm-hmm. And I have, Melinda makes memories, not just, you did these 5 stops along the way in this business meeting and you ate at this restaurant because the client went to this restaurant. Yeah. Like, I'm living a little bit more. Mm-hmm. That's kind of my goal. And we'll see how it goes.
So you've had a successful journey. What ways are you giving back or contributing?
I am really grateful that a lot of people listen to me and have asked for advice. And so I have got a lot of LinkedIn messages. I've gotten a lot of referrals, and women especially, but a lot of men. A lot of men fresh out of the military have reached out, and I've been able to help them with their career and help them. All right, let's focus on this. All right, now, if you want this promotion or if you're having this conflict issue, then how do we navigate it? Without them having to break their NDA or give specifics. What do I do? And that's the fun, rewarding part is seeing that relief of, oh, this isn't just a me problem. Like, oh, this is a common EP problem. Or, oh, it's just a mindset shift. You know, a lot of girls especially are, oh, my team lead, all these guys on my team, they just don't respect me. No, that's not a gender issue. You're being a bitch. Like, you just won't you're telling everyone what to do.
Yeah.
So approach that differently. Same with men of, I'm just having this worst time with, you know, X, Y, and Z. All right, well, have you tried it this way instead? So I do enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And it's fun hearing these people's stories and then seeing them being able to live their life in the skill sets that they have and the God-given talents that they're already born with and being able to thrive. I really love that part.
So what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind in this industry?
I've heard more than once the testimony of, I was having a really bad day until Melinda came into the office. And then I just laughed the rest of the shift. And that's what I want to be known for.
Wow.
I do put my heart and soul into this job.
Yeah.
I do put my heart and soul into these teams. And I know these teams aren't family. It is a job. I know that very well. But I still really care about the people around me. And if I can make someone's day a little bit brighter, if I can make that tense situation of all of us scared shitless on a street, you know, with heroin dealers everywhere, and I can make a funny joke and kind of break the tension, I love that part.
Yeah.
And so that's, again, the whole, you know, you kind of even a full circle moment of a lot of people around you are always having crises, and I'm just the lucky girl that gets to be. I literally think I am the luckiest girl in the world to get to do this job and be around these people. And so anything I can do. And I've had even moments with clients where they're having a bad day and I've just been able to just drop a little bit of humor and it's changed the whole aspect of the day. It comes in handy. Really is medicine for the soul. And so that's my response when I get uncomfortable or when I get scared. I'm a lot funnier.
Yeah.
And there's worse things to have. But yeah, leaving the industry better when I leave it than when I found it. So.
Yeah. So I guess what's the biggest takeaway you can give to listeners based on what we've talked about today and your journey? And
I think that, hold on. Sorry. Dang it, you said it so well, too.
Do you want me to reword it?
I was like, I can't find the red lettering. Yeah.
Do you want me to ask it again?
Yeah, okay. It's good again. Sorry.
So what's the biggest takeaway you hope listeners can get from your journey based on today?
I think there's so many paths this career can take you on. Whether you're doing exciting stuff, whether you're not doing exciting stuff, this is a great industry. This is a great opportunity to get life experience. You get to travel the world. You get to do things that are going to be in the history books. I mean, certain meetings I've been a part of, certain events that I've worked at, different rooms that I've been in of realizing, this is a historical moment. It's very special in that aspect where, for the sake of security, there's oftentimes you're in the room with the boss when he's making these huge business deals or these diplomatic deals with countries, and the client will turn to you after the meeting and go, "Well, how did you think that went?" And you're like, well,
Yeah.
But I think it can be a forever job, but it can also be as rich of an experience as you want it to be. So what you put into it is what you're going to take out of it.
And is there a guiding principle that you've used to help you through tough times in your career?
Really, just like I said before, just never wasting a good crisis.
Yeah.
And not getting lost in the chaos of this industry. There's backstabbing. There's an ugly side to this industry as well. There's a lot of betrayal. There's a lot of, if you don't, have blackmail on the guy next to you who's sleeping on shift, then he's got blackmail on you. So there's an ugly side of that. But then again, that really other life motto that I've used in the beginning was, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world? You can do some really cool stuff, but do not get lost in this. Do not get lost in the sauce of the coolness of the traveling, of the clout of you you have this certain company's, as your last name opens any door for you. Don't get lost in that. You're still a little homeschool girl from Washington State. You're still that, little whatever, little kid that a boy said that you were pretty boring.
Yeah.
And now here you are. Now you're not boring.
Yeah.
But don't forfeit who you are. Like, you were made to be you for a specific reason. You bring such value to the world, and nothing looks better than you being comfortable in your own skin. And so have fun with this industry. Take with it what you want out of it, and then know when to quit. Know when, hey, I've had great experiences. This has been great. I'm not limited to this. The world is still your oyster. You can still have incredible experiences. And maybe it opens doors to other connections, but also giving yourself the freedom to live your life. Don't do this forever.
Yeah.
You're just going to get more burnout.
Melinda, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For coming on
It's
today.
been great.
Sharing your story. And yeah.
All right. Well, see you next time.
Yeah.